In 2025, our company, Aspen Funds, raised almost $150 million from retail investors. That's 3 times the amount of capital that we raised in 2024. And that landed us on some pretty cool lists. We were 221 on the Inc. 5000 list. We were nominated, or actually won, the top fundraiser award by Juniper Square. But in today's video, what I want to do is I want to speak to capital raisers, and I want to talk about the keys that you can learn from our success and how to triple your growth this year. Hey, my name is Ellis Hammond. I serve as Vice President of Capital here at Aspen Funds. And to date, we've raised more than $350 million of equity to date. And I make these videos to help other capital raisers and fund managers, real estate sponsors to raise more money. And if you are a fund manager or capital raiser and you're looking for other sponsors and good deals to raise for, we have a fund manager platform. So I don't have any product or any coach or anything like that to sell. But if these videos help you raise more money, we can potentially partner together. So here's lesson number 1. No one is going to have a sense of urgency the way that you are going to have a sense of urgency. Literally, we put this into our core values of like having a sense of urgency in raising capital. And the way that I explain this to our team is that you are responsible for raising capital. That's why it's called raising capital. It is not the investor's job to invest money. It is your job to raise capital. I learned this lesson early on. One of the first jobs that I had out of college was that I worked for a nonprofit. And I was responsible for raising money in order to pay for my salary. So that was the money that I used to pay my rent and buy groceries and pay health insurance. And so it was very, very important that I made sure I got the money or I did not eat that next month. And what I learned as I was raising support is I would meet with someone and they would be, excited about partnering with me, excited about donating to our nonprofit. And then 2 weeks would go by and I never got the check, or longer would go by. And what I realized is that people were excited to be a part of it, but they weren't in a hurry, or you could say they were distracted in order to kind of take the final step. And so I learned early on that in order to get the money, I had to not just get the commitment, I had to do the work. It was on me. The onus was on me to go collect the money. So here's what we did this year in order to really create urgency in our process. We brought the entire subscription process in-house. In a typical fundraising, path, what most folks do is they rely on a portal. They get the commitment from the investor, then they make the investor go to the portal and sign the subscription documents and all that, go through the accreditation process. We built a system this year that once the investor gets the commitment, we built an in-house team. So we have an investor concierge. We actually have 3 investor concierge full-time on staff now. But you could do this as an individual, is building a system and process to actually take this subscription process in-house. So the investor comes in now, they give us a commitment either on that phone call or we schedule another phone call in order to collect entity information, request the documentation that we need. And then our team will go in and pre-fill the subscription documentation, because this is the biggest friction point in raising money, is getting someone from commitment through the accreditation and subscription process and in order to fund. And so we're able, literally same day of commitment is, we can get through accreditation, we can get through subscription, and we have those documents over to them for review. They don't have to fill out anything. All they have to do is click sign on DocuSign, and now they're ready to invest. We send them funding instructions, and of course they have to send the money, but now we've already done that. The benefit of doing it that way is when someone says they're ready to commit, they've made the decision emotionally. And if you let the process go longer, then they can second guess, or they have doubts, or maybe they see another deal that's better. And so by compressing that time, removing friction, creating urgency, and owning the process, it literally has allowed us to triple our capital raising efforts in 1 year. Big lesson number 2 that helped us triple our growth last year is people want to invest in multiple products. When I think about a dollar is like a soldier, and a soldier can only do one thing, right? So from an investment standpoint, that dollar can go generate income, but it probably can't go generate income and lower your tax bill, or it can't go generate cash flow and triple your growth, right? Like there's trade-offs in investing, and $1 can do one thing. So if you only have one offering, let's say that's a multifamily product or that's a debt fund. If you're investing in a debt fund, you can't get cash flow and have the potential to 3 or 4 extra money over the next 5 to 7 years. And so what we have at Aspen is we have multiple products that do multiple things. And those products are our credit fund, for example, which pays, monthly cash flow to an investor. We have a development fund, which allows the investors to take more risk but in exchange have, the upside of a bigger return. We have an oil and gas fund, which gives investors exposure to a completely different asset class, to a commodity versus real estate. And so by having these different products, what we've been able to, what we've seen over the last year and tripling our growth is one investor can now come in, instead of investing in one product, can invest in 3 products. So if they have $1 million of cash that they're looking to deploy, and you only, let's say, have one multifamily fund or one multifamily offering, the likelihood of them putting all $1 million into that fund is very little, because everyone wants exposures to different things. They want diversification. But if you have different products and different products that do different things, this is how we've been able to triple. Literally, think about it. If an investor comes in and instead of investing one time, they invest 3 times at the same time, you've just tripled your company. You've just tripled your growth. And so we've been able to see a clear correlation by having multiple offerings. This is able to grow your capital raising business. And so for example, we have a private credit fund where other sponsors have partnered with us and essentially white labeled our private credit fund if they don't have a cash flowing opportunity. So this is a lot of real estate sponsors or a lot of development partners. These are active real estate investors who've white labeled our private credit fund so that they can go and offer that to their investors. I've talked about this many times. The hardest part of the capital raising process is the first step, which is building trust. Once you've built the trust with investors, why would you not find more ways to monetize that relationship? And so one of the ways you can do that is through the Aspen Private Credit Fund, is have a fund, a cash flow fund, where you can go offer that to investors you've already built trust with. Big lesson number 3 is that we revised our sales strategy to think circular and not linear. And this is so key because you do so much work, you spend so much money to get an investor, and think about it like a finish line, right? And the most, I think, from a sales process, think, okay, I talked to an investor, I got them to fund, the job is done. And if you really want to grow a sustaining business that actually takes less work the bigger that it gets, is we have to start thinking about a sales cycle as not linear and more circular. And what that means is, when I think about that, is an investor comes in, they make an investment, and then there's a couple things that can happen to complete this wheel. They can make additional investments, but also they can make a referral, and that referral now invest. Right? And then what happens? That referral makes another referral. And so it's a circular sales cycle and not a linear sales cycle, where that investor or that client can continue to do repeat business with you over time. And so the way that we've been able to do that is, the first thing is we have to get people to trust us. And so we made and not just that person, but we have to get them to talk about us so that their friends and other people can see that they trust us. One of the things that we emphasized last year was Google reviews. And so again, we put this into the process. The best way to get more Google reviews is not rocket science. It's to ask for the review. So at every process of the sales cycle, we're asking for the review. So when someone comes in, they make a commitment and they fund, the next email that goes out is, hey, thanks for your funding. If you enjoyed this process, would you leave a Google review? The sales team reaches out. Hey, thanks. I'm glad we got your money. So grateful to have you in this fund with us. Hey, if you enjoyed working with me, would you leave me a 5-star Google review? It just helps our team and builds trust with other investors. And we were able to literally go from 0 Google reviews to now we have over 125 5-star Google reviews online. Another thing that we did in one of our funds, that again, to go from kind of more of a linear sales cycle to a circular sales cycle, is we created essentially a bonus or an incentive for folks to make referrals into our funds. And the way that we do that is, in each one of our funds, we have multiple share classes. So if you invest at $100,000, you get a certain preferred return and certain promote. If you invest $1 million, that goes up. You get a higher pref, you get more of the profit share. And so what we did is we created, essentially alignment with our current clients to say, hey, if you make a referral and you bring that investor to Aspen and they fund into this deal, you and the person that you refer will get the stepped up share class for the next 12 months. So literally, you're talking to someone who's already convinced on your product. They've already made an investment with you, And now they get to go tell someone else, which they probably are already telling someone else. But now it actually makes them look good to go tell their buddy or tell their friend, hey, I just invested in this fund. It's paying me today and you could invest with me. And it's not like a gimmick. I'm going to get the bonus. And guess what? So are you. And so it's a very transparent way that they can go talk to their friends and say, hey, if you want to earn in this fund and actually earn better, come and invest with me or come and invest in the same things that I just invested with. And again, so this incentivizes the investor to go tell other people. And again, thinking from linear to circular is a way to just continue to build a self-sustaining sales cycle that requires less of you the bigger that it grows. So to recap, tripling your growth is not magic. In fact, the smaller that you are, if you're just beginning, it's probably much easier to triple your growth this year, the bigger that you get. There's probably one or two things that I said in this video that you can do and take away. So again, to recap, have a sense of urgency, figure out the friction points in the investment process and build systems and processes around that to remove friction and make it easier for the investor to invest. Secondly, have multiple offerings. Come join Aspen and offer the private credit fund, or go find something that is different than what you're offering that could also serve or solve a different problem for your investor and offer it to them. And then lastly, think circular, not linear in the sales process. Find ways to get your investors, your current clients, to tell their friends about you. Hey, lastly, if you're a fund manager, capital raiser, or even just a high net worth person and you have the ability to allocate more than $1 million into real estate private placement opportunities, I invite you to go to aspenfunds.us/fund manager and apply to become a fund manager partner with us. We have more than 13 years in business. We just passed $100 million in investor distributions and have built out a fund manager platform to serve other capital raisers and help you build a profitable capital raising business alongside a sophisticated and legit sponsor with a proven track record. Again, aspenfunds.us/fund manager. Cheers.